Fam, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Run the thumbs up. I appreciate you guys being here. Nick Saban has announced his retirement. It was Chris Lowe of ESPN that broke the scoop. Here's my reaction to the news that has shocked college football. Nick Saban has been a head football coach at the University of Alabama since the 2007 season. Overall, he has 7 national titles. 2003 with LSU, 2009, 2011, 2012, 2015, 17, and 2020. As you know, the Crimson Tide came up short in the Rose Bowl, losing to Michigan, the eventual national championship team. They lost to them in overtime. When I look back to Coach Saban's career, where do you even begin? I think clearly he's the greatest college football coach to ever do it. 1,000,000%. And as I kind of look back to this last season, it was a hell of a run. This was an incredible coaching job. And I know that it didn't end with a national title, but I think arguably it's one of his best coaching jobs ever. This team wasn't supposed to make the playoffs. This team wasn't supposed to be here. This was a sophomoric team. He enjoyed himself. He was smiling more than I'd ever seen him. And even though we didn't get those rants that we're accustomed to, he did get after his team a couple times. As I look back to the beginning of the season, there was a couple times where it was almost foreshadowing that he was going to retire. Remember when he was running into the locker room, and then he just jetted over to the student body and he waved goodbye. Remember all those times that he thanked the fans for showing up to the games at Bryant-Denny Stadium? There's so much to talk about when you think about Nick Saban, and it can never be put together in one small video because his career will go down in the history books. It already has. He already has a statue. I remember when I moved to Tuscaloosa in 2016. I moved here and I was curious to see when Nick Saban would retire. But as I got further entrenched in the Alabama Crimson Tide football fabric, I realized that I didn't want him to retire because you were surrounded by greatness. Every single time, whether it was a Monday press conference at 12 p.m., whether it was a 6 p.m. Press conference or a post-game press conference, you were listening to straight wisdom, straight fire. Nobody delivered like Coach Saban. Nobody had those opening monologues like Coach Saban. Nobody could get the message to the players like Coach Saban. It's sad, to be honest. I have a couple questions as we kind of look to what's next. But I want to ask you in chat, inside the comment box, why do you feel that Nick Saban retired right now? That's my first question. 72 years old? Was it just time? He said a couple times that he was tired. I don't know. I mean, the way that, he was able to recall some of the plays from, years ago, the fire, the passion, the competitive spirit. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he looked great. He always said when he did retire, it would be because he no longer felt he could give back to the program at the highest level. I feel he was still doing that. Do you feel that name, image, and likeness changed college football? We know it changed college football, but do you feel that maybe expedited him getting out of the college football coaching game? He's certainly not going somewhere else. I personally do. I think that name, image, and likeness, he's talked about that a lot. And yeah, while it has created great parity for college football, it's changed it, right? We're almost in pro sports now. Players getting paid and going in and out of the transfer portal. The transfer portal is something else. I think I can only imagine how difficult it must have been for Coach Saban to continue to think about roster management, He talked about this. He said that the month of December, everything was sped up about 6 months with the recruiting calendar. You're having to sign your class by, a couple days before Christmas. Also, the bowl season on top of that. That's a lot on your plate, along with the transfer portal. I can only imagine how busy Coach Saban. You think you're busy? Think about Coach Saban's schedule, right? Probably never stopped. Where does Alabama go from here? Well, the first thing that we should know is that the transfer portal will reopen for another 30 days starting tomorrow. That means that players, now that they are notified that they're going to have another head football coach at Alabama, they can hit the transfer portal. So we've been talking about roster management for quite some time. I don't think we're done. There's certainly going to be fallout from this. We saw Kevin Steele retire as well a couple days ago as Alabama's defensive coordinator. We saw Holman Wiggins, Alabama's wide receiver coach, go to Texas A&M. We saw Coleman Hutzler take the DC position at Mississippi State. So who are potential targets to be the next man to try to, you're never going to fill these shoes. Never. There's already a statue of Coach Saban, right? It's probably going to be a museum shortly after. I think it was Brett McMurphy of the Action Sports Network that said that the first call is to Dan Lanning, Oregon's football coach. I like the call, honestly. I think a lot of people would like to see Lane Kiffin. And it almost seems like Lane Kiffin knew that this was coming. I think back to the game after Ole Miss and Alabama when Lane Kiffin said, I'm going to miss these talks. And I think while a lot of people felt it was because Ole Miss and Alabama are not going to play each other this coming season, I think he was alluding to the fact that Coach Saban is going to retire. I think he knew. If it was down to, I know people have talked about Dabo Swinney that they used to. I don't think that Dabo Swinney will be a guy. I would love to see DeMeco Ryans get a shot, but man, what he's doing with the Houston Texans, I think they're going to try to keep him, of course, obviously. Great up-and-coming coach. You can't get Steve Sarkisian back because Texas is probably going to offer him $100 billion or whatever, right? I think Lane Kiffin has outgrown Ole Miss. But then again, he just landed all these guys from the transfer portal, right? So is he going to bounce on those guys and come to Alabama? I think this is his dream school. He's always yelling Roll Tide inside the comment box. Those guys make sense to me. I think considering Lane Kiffin, his age, his schematics on the offensive side, I think it would be pretty fun to watch Lane Kiffin take over Alabama and Alabama's offense. He already emulates Coach Saban during his press conferences. The schematics with Jalen Milroe at quarterback and the offensive weapons under Lane Kiffin, that gets me excited. I want to hear from you inside the comment box. Who do you think will replace Nick Saban? I want to hear from you. Give me your thoughts about this breaking news, biggest news in college football. I appreciate you guys being here. Hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe. Can't believe that we're talking about this, to be honest. On January 10th, 2024, Nick Saban retiring from Alabama football. Just unbelievable news. We'll keep you covered right here at Bama Football on YouTube.